I was at my wit's end, and I get this call, and the person says, you have celiac disease. I had never heard that term before.
How old are you at this point?
I was 31. Never heard that term. So I was crying on the phone because I'm like, I have cancer, or that. Like, I thought it was awful. I'm like, no, it's dietary. All you have to do is change your diet. This is a real thing. It's not for fun. It's not trendy. It's not something I'm trying. Like, no. This is a disease, and I have to manage my diet.
Right. You know, people, excuse my language, you'll bleep this out, but people are right? It's like, because I had to get the same thing. I'm gluten-free for, you got me beat by like a couple of years, but people are like, come on, Lynch. And I'm like, look, you don't think I want that? Of course I do. It's just not work.
I'm from Long Island. I want a bagel every day. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LynchFit podcast. You'll notice that Mike and I today are on the same side, which means we have a guest. Today, we are fortunate enough to have friend of the show, Filiz here, who has been living gluten-free for 19 years, but on top of that, knows more about finding the best products out there for anything you need. She's better at this than anyone I know. Filiz, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. I've known Filiz for many years, and throughout that time, anytime I need anything, she's like, oh, I know which one you need. And usually somebody says that, and then you look into it, and you're like, oh, it's full of asbestos and garbage. No, when Filiz knows what you need, she knows the best product out there in the world. And so it's impressive. And I also wanted to find out a little bit about her journey living gluten-free, because I thought it might help other people. Now, funny enough, all three of us are gluten-free. Not common. A lot of times you're the sole gluten-free person in an environment. You know, I always find when I'm at work, I'm usually the only one. Every once in a while, I'll find somebody else, but it's not as common as you think. But I have a suspicion that more people should be living gluten-free than actually are right now. And a lot of people would feel better. And that's not just for celiac disease. That's just people who might have inflammation or different autoimmune problems, things like that. So,
and if you are looking and you check out the skin on her and him, okay? We're going to talk about gut health and all of that, but I got to know what the hell you're doing with this skin. 50 years old. She looks like she's like 20.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Both of you. I'm just going to crawl under the desk.
So let's just jump right into it. You know, we brought you here mostly to talk about being gluten-free, finding things that are not only gluten-free, but healthy, right? Because that can be a really challenging thing. Now, you've been gluten-free for 19 years,
yes,
which is a long journey. Talk to me a little bit about how you got to that place. You know, what brought you to a gluten-free lifestyle, and how was it in the beginning when things were probably not that easy to find?
Yeah, so I have had stomach issues since forever.
What's forever?
Since birth. My mom said she would notice that my diaper, on TMI, you know, was not so great. And they put me on a soy formula because they thought it was the dairy, which it probably was, because gluten and the dairy thing is kind of connected.
That's correct.
Through childhood, I always had some issues. I remember in elementary school, before school sometimes, I would feel nauseous, I might even vomit, and the doctor told my mom that I had a nervous stomach and I should have saltines in the morning. So we all know what that big mistake that was. And I kept going and going, and you know, I was growing normally. I was a thin child, but, you know, good weight. And it didn't get to be a real problem until I was in my mid to late 20s. At that time, I was working, I was living alone, I was single, and I just started to lose a lot of weight really fast. And looking back now, I don't know why it didn't worry me more than it did. I was safety pinning my clothes to go to work. I was like, oh, I have to safety pin my pants today. And I would just do that and go to work and not think anything of it. And I don't know if that's because I'm a female and it's like, well, I'm losing weight and I'm not doing anything. And this is amazing. Yeah, it's not like I needed to lose the weight. As I said, I was always thin. But then I started to lose my hair. And my nails stopped growing. Oh yeah, it was breaking off. Like I put my fingers through my hair and a clump would just like come out and break. And it was, and now that I look at pictures, I looked awful. Like,
can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So you started losing weight, right? And then how long after the weight loss started to occur did the hair breaking?
Maybe like a couple months. Like it was fast. It was really fast. What was really weird is that I was getting a lot of compliments about my weight at work. And that's really why I don't think, like, oh, you look great. What are you doing? You know, I remember
Killing myself.
my
I'm
chairperson.
starving to death because the microvilli and my intestines are all smashed.
Yes, I had someone come up behind me, and a superior, and put her hands around my waist and said, "Look, I could almost touch my fingers," and thought that was amazing, you know? So I was like, "Oh, great." But I was really sick, and then I passed out in my apartment, and I hit my head on the wall, and there was like a dent in my wall, and I called my mom. I said, "Something's really wrong," you know? But as I had said, throughout my life, I had been to doctors for gastrointestinal issues. I was actually put on muscle relaxers for my stomach for a while through grad school.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it was really bad. Like I was medicated, all those things. I had a lot of issues. I had surgery, which I won't get into right now, but I had surgery because of it. And finally, someone recommended this gastro. I went to see him. I was at my wit's end, and I get this call, and the person says, "You have celiac disease." I thought I had never heard that term before.
How old are you at this point?
I was 31. Never heard that term. So I was crying on the phone because I'm like, I have cancer, I've died. Like I thought it was awful. And like, no, it's dietary. All you have to do is change your diet, you know? So I went in and they ran my numbers and looked at my numbers. And then I got a second opinion because I'm like, I don't even know what this is. And the second person said, "I can't believe you're not like in the hospital right now. Like you're so depleted." So I went through the list that they gave me. It was this little, you know, printed list, and I cleaned out my kitchen. I had 4 bags of groceries that I had to give away. And I'm like, what am I supposed to eat? And at that time, nothing was labeled. Like there was no such label as gluten-free on a box. So the first time I went food shopping.
You're what they call the OG.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time I went food shopping, I was in the grocery store for, I think, like 3.5 hours. I'm not kidding, like 3.5 hours.
And this is stuff I want to talk about because this is a really big hurdle for people to jump over when they make any kind of dietary change, because they're about to change everything about the way they go shopping, and that is stressful and time consuming.
Yes.
Can I just ask you one other thing? Were you actually vomiting? Or you
So
felt like you had
at that point, it wasn't even that bad. It was like a little bit of nausea. When I was a kid, I had a couple episodes where I actually threw up in the morning. But as an adult, it was like a little bit of nausea here and there, but nothing where I was like, you know, I didn't think anything much of it other than I know something's wrong with my stomach.
Yeah, okay.
But
Because it's amazing when the body gets something that it doesn't want, it's either going to come out your butt or some people can get projectile vomiting.
Well,
yeah.
now, and there have been episodes where not even by me, by accident, I've been what I call glutened. And I will throw up, like you said, for 6 to 8 hours. I literally have put pillows in my bathroom because I know I'm going to be there the whole night. And I know I'm going to throw up the whole night. So when it starts, I lay in there and I just get up, keep throwing up. And then I'm so done. It's literally just bile at the end of it.
No
That
shit.
2-3 days I'm in bed because you're done. You're like poisoned. It's like poison.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that reaction until after I had gone successfully gluten-free for a while. And then, oops, someone glutened me. I went to a restaurant and something got mixed up in the restaurant and now I'm sick. And it takes about, for me, 45 minutes between the time I ingest something to the time I'm like, oh, I got gluten. I know. Like the saliva starts to happen. You start to feel like your stomach starts to go. I'm like, I have 45 minutes and I have to get home. This is going to be bad. And it's really bad. And that's why I'll have friends that will be like, come on, you go out to a restaurant. You really can't eat that? No. I always feel like I'm going to die. Like, this is a real thing. It's not for fun. It's not trendy. It's not something I'm trying. Like,
No.
this is a disease, and I have to manage my diet.
Right. You know, people, excuse my language, you'll bleep this out, but people are right? It's like, because I had to get the same thing. I'm gluten-free for, you got me beat by like a couple of years, but people are like, come on, Lynch, and I'm like, look, you don't think I want that? Of course I do. It's just not work.
I'm from Long Island. I want a bagel every day.
Yes.
Every day.
Pizza bagel.
That's right. Yeah, of course. You don't think I want that?
Yeah,
I
it's
want
like
that.
it's not trying to be cool here or different. It's just not work. Like, as you know,
No.
I mean, I don't hug the bowl like that. Yeah.
I can't play around. It's no joke. And the littlest bit will do it.
And by the way, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
There's certain cancers, if I'm not wrong, that if you don't, like, you have celiac, it's no, like, for me, they're like, I don't think you do, but I know I probably have, and they just didn't snip the right spot.
Right.
But for you, correct me if I'm wrong, there's certain cancers that you could be opening yourself up to if you don't 100% adhere to this diet, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I have a friend whose daughter got diagnosed and she's like, well, she cheats sometimes. And I said, oh, no, no, no. You can't cheat. I'm like, she could develop cancer and it affects everything.
Do you know what type of cancers are? Like, I never dug into it.
Never dug into it
But
either,
they're all
but they
cancers,
they
right?
did. Yes,
It's
they did.
probably some sort of
But think
intense
about how
cancer.
hard this could be for a young person, right? Like we're adults. You were diagnosed with this, in your early 30s.
Yeah.
If you're 14 or 15 years old, that is difficult. It's hard to even conceptualize adulthood at that age. You're so stuck in those little circles, and I feel bad for a young person who has to have that internal strength to hold tight to a diet that's that restrictive in a world where they're going and there's pizza at every party and there's bagels at every this and everyone goes out to the diner and has this thing and that thing. I'm just saying it's not easy for anyone, but I think it's even harder for young people.
It is hard for kids. However, today, there are so many gluten-free options. Things are labeled. It's much more talked about. People know about it. And I think that if you know that you're going to have a really bad reaction, like I kind of look at it as a blessing. We have parties at work or something, and there's a whole table full of cakes, and I'm like, I can't have any of it. And thank God.
I love it.
Yes, yes.
I love her.
Yeah.
I always say being celiac disease or gluten intolerant, same right? Except one's deadly and one isn't, is the best disease anybody can have. Because it makes you avoid all the shit. It's going to make you fat, depleted, diabetic, heart disease. Like, there's nothing good on the table that you're like, so it's like one of the best diagnoses. Once you get over the stamping of the feet, like well, gluten, like you're going to be in the best shape. I mean, look at you. I mean, seriously.
Thanks. But yeah.
The whole world's gonna go gluten-free after this video, okay? They'll be like, she's 50.
No, but it's
gluten's out.
It really helps because I wouldn't have that control. I love my sweets. I did before, and it makes me be careful. So
Now, one thing about this that I think there's a real disconnect, and certainly there was a disconnect even for me in the beginning, is that gluten-free doesn't mean healthy. So we are talking about like you can't have the cakes and the cookies, right? Now they make gluten-free muffins and gluten-free this and gluten-free chips and breads and different things. And I didn't realize at first, but they overload gluten-free products with extra sugars and extra things that aren't good for you to make things that aren't that tasty taste that much better. And I think in the beginning, I always thought, well, it's gluten-free, it's healthy. Not the case.
They also have gluten-free vodka. I'm just saying.
There's another point that's a really good point that you brought up. It's not just food. So my brother got married years ago, and I had gotten strep throat right before the wedding. I'm like, oh my God. So I went to the doctor. I wanted to make sure I was going to be okay. And they put me on antibiotics. And my strep throat went away, but I lost 11 pounds. I'm like, what's going on? I called the doctor. I'm like, is there any gluten in this medication? So this is right after I got diagnosed. So I wasn't having that vomiting thing yet because I would have known right away. Now I would have known.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I'm like, I just got diagnosed with celiac. I lost in a week, 11 pounds. That's a lot. So they called the manufacturer. It was coated in gluten.
Get out of here.
I was taking that pill like twice a day.
What reason?
I don't know. So whatever
It's some
whatever
sort
the
of glaze,
coating was
some
to
sort of
make it easy
glaze,
to swallow,
probably. Yeah.
had
And again, this is one of the difficult parts, and I want to talk about this, of going gluten-free. You're not just taking white bread out of your diet. You have to really start to look critical at anything that's going in your body or even on your skin.
yes.
And these are things that can be really difficult. Now, another thing that I found when I was, kind of preparing this episode, and I didn't realize this, before 2014, there weren't really any firm rules by the FDA on what actually was gluten-free. So things could have been marked gluten-free before then, and now there weren't any. And it actually might not have even been true.
Right.
So that is scary for people who have, serious celiacs.
Yes. And anytime I go anywhere, eat something that I have not prepared from a whole food, like a salad, I know it's fine. But if it's a processed food or I'm going to a restaurant, I always have a little bit of anxiety because of the reaction that I have now. And after that episode of vomiting, it damages the villi in your intestines. So you're not absorbing your nutrients. It takes about 8 weeks for them to grow back.
Yeah.
And so you're sick again for a while. So you're not getting everything that you actually need to function to the fullest extent every day by that one little mistake. And I'm telling you, it's like the littlest bit of gluten, tiny, tiny little bit. I remember a doctor told me it was half the size of a peanut. That amount of gluten ingested will cause that damage and cause that reaction.
One grain, Nick, don't forget, I want to talk about what she said, the villi. I don't want to forget that in this episode. One grain digested takes the square footage of a tennis court. So yeah, one grain digested and assimilated in your intestine takes up the square footage of the tennis court. Now back to you though, because you just taught me something, and this is great. This is like yes and the best. So now what do you do? Because I'm strict. Like if I am to get sick, like when I fill a prescription, an antibiotic, do you ask the pharmacist, does this have gluten?
I absolutely ask. So I tell the doctor, any doctor that I go see, if I'm going to get medication for, if I have asthma too, so if they have to give medication for something, they'll tell me, I said I'm gluten-free and I have to know if this medication is gluten-free. And either they or the pharmacist or the manufacturer can answer that question about it being gluten-free.
Yeah, what are some of the most surprising places you've found hidden gluten?
Soy sauce.
Yeah.
That I love Asian food, and I was like, "What do you mean there's wheat?" So I wasn't
lipstick. Yeah.
Makeups can have, and so there are gluten-free companies that make lipsticks and makeups and hair products.
Envelopes.
Yes, like an envelope. Yeah, envelope glue.
Yeah.
Like it could be literally anything.
Envelope glue is just gross to me to begin with. I would usually if I don't have the one where you just peel off the sticky, I take a wet napkin because I'm like, even if it doesn't have gluten, what does it have?
Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't make this out of some no.
Know what also has it? Crab meat and sushi.
Imitation crab meat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Imitation crab meat.
Which is a good enough reason to eat real crab meat.
Yeah.
This is another thing. So I went to a restaurant in the city, pizzeria. They had a gluten-free menu. Right?
That seems legit.
Gluten-free menu, gluten-free pizza. I ordered from that menu. It was a gluten-free pizza. You could tell when you're eating it that it's gluten-free. And like I said, it takes about 45 minutes for me to get a reaction. So I get in the car. I had driven to the city, and I'm driving home. I'm like, oh no, here it comes. I pulled over the whole way home. Stop, throw up, drive a little more, stop, whole way home.
Oh, God.
And they make regular pizza in the pizzeria too. It's in the air. It lands on, so it's cross-contamination. That's how sensitive I am. So I really, and listen, reaction or no reaction.
Well, think about it. The guys are flipping dough.
Oh, and it's like, if you're not keeping it totally separate,
it's
own
snowing gluten
pan.
in a pizza plate.
Yes.
It literally is snowing gluten, right?
But you know what? Even if I didn't have the reaction, let's just say I was, asymptomatic. Because there are people, my once I found out, and my aunt and my mom, my grandmother had symptoms, she just ignored them. But everyone else, no gastrointestinal issues. You're still doing the damage.
Yeah.
So, you really have to be careful because you might say, well, I feel fine, but are you? Are you fine?
Yeah.
And going back to the symptoms of the skin, it affects everything because everything, as you know, is centered in the gut, your mental health. Most of those issues come from the gut. So you're not getting those nutrients.
Yeah, people who are dealing with bipolar issues, people who are dealing with depression.
Schizophrenia, can lead to schizophrenia.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff can be maybe not cured, but managed.
Are you sticking to the schizophrenia? Are you sticking to the gluten-free thing, Nick?
No comment.
I love you.
No, but let me ask you this. What is your advice to people who might want to try it, but do feel overwhelmed by going to that first trip to the grocery store and just not wanting to spend 5 hours there?
Well, it's much easier now because things are clearly labeled. It will say, I still do buy products that don't say gluten-free because some people are afraid, some companies are afraid to put them on there, put that label on there because what if? I just read the ingredients. If it seems like something very simple, I don't know, not that I would buy pre-made rice, I never did, but I'm just using that as an example.
Sure.
Are they going to really have a cross-contamination problem with pre-made rice? That kind of a thing. It's like, I could buy it if it doesn't say gluten-free.
Yeah.
But there's labeling everywhere now. And most stores, Wild by Nature, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Stop and Shop has a section. Yeah. ShopRite has a section. Yeah. You can find things. But again, these are going to be processed things. You don't want to have them every single day. I try not to keep a lot of that stuff in the house.
Right. So whether you're gluten-free or not, focusing your diet on whole foods
Yeah.
is really the way to go. Because there's no gluten in fruit. There's no gluten in vegetables, right? Things and proteins, things like that,
Yeah.
right?
And I try to be that whole issue got me started on this, journey. I hate to use that word, but
I hate that word
I hate
too.
that word. But it got me like,
You're on a journey.
I'm on this journey.
Everybody's on a journey.
Yeah. Well,
Get over yourself.
I don't know. Whatever the word is you want to use, just put there. But to really do better, like eat better. I started working out. I started taking care of myself because I was not healthy, And if you look, well, this is a crazy thing that happened. I was around the weight that I am now. I lost 25 pounds by the time I figured out what was going on. So I was 25 pounds then. I'm 5'11", and I remember going on this scale and I was 128. That's very low for me. I was wearing, like I said, a size 2 or size 4. I know you don't wear women's clothes, but that's very small for
How do you
someone
know
my
I don't
height.
get women's clothes?
So once I found out what the issue was and I changed my diet, I still didn't know how to navigate, like, what should I be eating that's not going to be making me fat or whatever. And I put on that 25 and then another 25.
Oh, yeah?
Now, I wasn't heavy. I'm tall, so I could carry the weight. But I remember one of the secretaries at work saying, "You're finally having ass." And I was like, "Okay, thank you for telling me that." But a guy at work, you know who you are, came up to me and said, "We're doing The Biggest Loser. You want to join?"
Oh, shit.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Not a compliment. Heads up.
And I'm very close with him, but I was like, "You killed me." And that day, because that kind of comment, I'm a little too vain for that. I was like, "Oh, we're changing it all." So the gym and the diet and the cheese went out because once I got the gluten-free thing down, I was like, "Oh, I can have cheese and I'm not having this problem with the cheese anymore." So cheese. And I remember my dad saying to me, "You're gonna get fat eating all that cheese." And I was like, "I've never been fat in my life. Like, he could just shut up." Well, he was right. So I stopped at the cheese and I really started, and I got back down to my weight. And then the workout thing really started picking up. And I am more fit now at 50 than I ever was in any other time in my life.
Okay. So while we're on this, Nick, I think we should just have her talk about the Microvilli.
Yeah, let's do it. So
Yeah.
what are Microvilli?
You want to explain it?
Sure, I could
Yeah,
try
go
them.
ahead. You're the
So
guest.
there are these little hair-like, protrusions on your intestines that kind of work as like a brush to grab everything that you're eating that's good, to bring in the nutrients and kind of. And when you are what I call glutened, when you eat gluten, it blunts them. So you're literally making your intestines like a slip and slide. And everything's just going through and you're not absorbing, which is why when that was getting worse for me, I was eating like crazy. I mean, I have an appetite, but I wasn't gaining anything. I was losing weight because I wasn't absorbing anything. And that's why my hair started to fall out. My nails stopped growing and my skin looked like kind of like ashy and like I just did not look well.
So you did. You did
Yes.
have the ashy look.
But solely.
Okay.
Like solely.
It did get
It
to you.
came to that point,
Okay.
like where it was like everything was just, I just looked awful.
Yeah.
And then I would say it took a couple of years to figure it out. And then I got diagnosed at 31. So it was like my late 20s when it started. And then it was a big slippery slope into like everything's going wrong. I passed out.
Now, you can rehabilitate those little
Yeah.
hairs.
You can.
But it takes 8 weeks. So if I accidentally ingest gluten, I will vomit. That's my reaction. Everybody's different. It takes about 8 weeks for them to grow back. So you could be eating the best meals ever for the next 2 months, but you're not absorbing everything you should be absorbing.
Yeah.
So you should take, extra supplements in that time if you know you've gotten a gluten poisoning. Because even that, you're not going to absorb everything.
What do you take? Glutamine for your intestines?
Just like vitamins and things
Okay.
like that, try and make sure you're getting as much as you can because you're not really going to absorb most of what you're eating.
Right.
And it takes, for me, I feel depleted for a while.
Of course.
It's almost like I got over the flu. That's when I feel like I got over a flu.
Yeah.
And it takes
run down.
So run down. And it takes about that time for you to start to feel like, okay, I'm better. I'm back in it.
Yeah. I'm so happy she brought that up, Nick, because, a lot of times people say, I'm hungry all the time. And if their microvilli is whacked out, it's kind of like they're writing checks that are empty.
Yeah.
So their body keeps on searching for the calories and the vitamins and the minerals and the vitamin C and the zinc and all they eat. But because those microvilli are so tamped down and the intestines are so swollen over them, they're not absorbing anything. So they keep on searching for the nutrition, but they never get it. And I think this is the way a lot of people get obese. Because people are like, oh, I wish I could be more disciplined like you, Lynch. And I'm like, I'm not disciplined.
Yeah.
I'm not that disciplined. You're just eating the wrong thing, and I call it toxic hunger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, you have celiac disease, but I'm a believer that everybody on planet Earth is dealing with this.
They would be better off without
Yeah,
it.
because agriculture is something we did. The first 100,000 years of existence, there was no bread or gluten or anything.
Well, but also on top of that, what have we done in this country to the wheat that we are consuming?
It gets sprayed like a million times.
Exactly, with glyphosate. But we are so no one in the our
We
parents
didn't evolve with this.
Correct.
Yeah.
We were picking berries off the bushes, slaying an animal, eating an apple and a root vegetable. We didn't, the first bread was called peasant bread. It was for the peasants. The kings and queens didn't eat bread.
Right. Well, the other thing I'd say is in this country, as much as we do know and as much as people are becoming more aware, we are so far behind other places.
Yeah.
So recently I was in Ireland last year. They have a rule there for all allergens. Every menu at every restaurant, you see a number next to each dish that's listed. And at the bottom, there's a key and it tells you what allergens are in that dish.
Really?
The waiters
And it's mandated by the government.
Oh, yes. And the waiters and waitresses are so well informed. You tell them, I'm celiac, we got you. There's a lot of celiac in Ireland. I don't know why, but Northern Europeans, there's a lot of celiac.
Yeah. So anybody that from Ireland, Welsh, Germans, Scottish, Romania, all of them, anybody who's fair-skinned probably doesn't have the enzymes to break down gliadin, which is the protein of gluten.
Okay.
Yeah, those people fare worse. Like the Italians and African Americans and Mexicans and all them, they shouldn't be eating it either, but they seem to do better with it than. So if you have pale skin and you burn easy and you come from any of those descents, it's gonna clobber you.
Italy is another place where they're very aware
It's amazing.
of gluten allergies, and it's not. I remember I went to Germany a number of years back, and when I told people I couldn't drink beer, they looked at me like I had insulted every member of their family 6 ways to Sunday.
Really?
Yeah. And this was years and years back before, maybe it's different there now. But in Italy, easy peasy.
By the way, gelato places, they always have a gluten-free cone when you get gelato in Italy. I love it. Because if I want to get ice cream or something here, it's like it has to be in the cup.
Yeah.
But in Italy, you get to have a cone.
Right.
And you'll see a little wheat sign with a little cross through it. It's like, hey, I get to have my ice cream cone. But yeah, so they're very good.
Now,
very well informed.
When you're gluten-free, there are a lot of alternative flours that people can choose, but they're not all created equal. I don't know if you know anything about the flours. It's my understanding that almond flours can be healthier than like a rice flour. Is that true?
Yes, because there are more nutrients in the almonds. So you have a lot of fiber in almonds, and there are other vitamins in almonds that are not going to be there in a white rice flour. Even, I don't know if I would say it, cassava. Yeah, cassava flour. It's not nutrient dense. So, and that's like a thing now. You see it all over the place. Cassava flour. You see it. It's like, oh, do you think it's going to be healthy because it's all over? But it's really not that healthy.
Yeah.
So I try to
styrofoam.
I try to stick to almond flour. But if you have a nut allergy,
or there's another problem with almond flour.
yeah.
If somebody has kidney stones, it's very, very high in a plant toxin called oxalate. So 80% of calcium stones are calcium oxalates.
Kidney stones are calcium oxalate?
Yeah. So you want to, so if you have kidney stones or you're predisposed to that, you have to watch the almond flour too as well.
Yeah. So it's that, you have to, it can get really tricky really quickly for certain people. Thankfully, I don't have a nut allergy.
Okay.
So, but I do have to say I had a food sensitivities test, separate thing.
And we actually want to talk to you about this in a different episode because I think so many people out there right now are consuming foods that they're allergic to and they don't even know it.
Oh, me too.
They don't even know it because you were for years
and didn't know
staples of your diet.
Yeah.
But again, that's another episode. So
Nick just locked you into another episode, by the way.
I'm having fun with you guys, so that's okay. This is fun. Yeah, but you have to do your research. You can't be lazy. You have to do your research. So you buy something, you go home, if you like it, right? Check out what is in this thing, is this healthy for me? Is this something I should be having once in a while? Or, so for example, if I'm having Mexican night and I'm going to do wraps, I'll use almond wraps. They sell them at Trader Joe's really inexpensively. But someone who can't have almonds is going to have,
So maybe men, but more so women are going to look at you and say, 50 years old, I want to look like her. I'm going to run out and get gluten-free flour. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but most of your diet is not comprised of flour. Is that correct?
No. I really try. I had a problem with sweets. It's a whole other discussion with chocolates and sweets. Really bad. But I try not to eat a lot of junk. And to me, it's junk. So, do I have a piece of cake on my birthday? Yes. If we're going out and there's dessert and it's gluten-free dessert, do I have? Yes. But I really try not to eat like that.
It's the everyday dessert
yeah.
that end up getting to you. It's the thinking in your mind. Every time I'm done with dinner, I walk over and get this thing. Right? That's what ends up really.
I used to do that.
Right.
But I've gotten much better with that. And and also, that's not going to be filling. To me, that's not what's going to be filling. Like I much rather sit down and have, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I used to be vegan too, but steak and yams and like that's I really like good food.
Right.
So because you feel not junk, because we've trained ourselves to like the garbage, you can retrain yourself to like stuff that is good for you. And it doesn't take as long as you think. And it's not as hard as you think. People think it's just an insurmountable goal to change their diet. It's not.
Well, hang around with a teenager. I have a son at home. All he wants is the junk. Doritos, this, that, and the other thing. And I remember being that kid. I could eat, watching TV, a sleeve of Oreos or a bag of Doritos. Now I'm like, oh my God, I never.
And you say this all the time. Just because you don't see that a problem is happening, it doesn't mean the problem is not happening.
Right.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. Because some people just have quick metabolisms, but Oreos and cheeseburgers or whatever it is, it's the same inside. Whether you're visually seeing it, it's still glycating your cholesterol and causing plaque or diabetes or cancer maybe, So Nick, I'm sure you'll be okay with this. I'm going to ask every guest that we have that comes in with nutrition, what is a day of, because everybody loves to know what people eat.
Okay.
And again, women are going to look at you and be like, I want to look like this girl. She's thin. She looks great at 50. What does a gluten-free day in the life look like when you're doing the right thing?
So in the morning, before I work out, I start off with a shake because I had learned really late actually that unlike men, women are supposed to have something in their system before they work out. You know how you can do long intermittent fasting and that's not good for a woman before working out. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but women are supposed, they'll start burning, lean muscle real more quickly than men.
So what's in the shake? Tell us. I want
my
decaf.
favorite shake is avocado, cacao powder from Trader Joe's, a scoop of almond butter, and a date. Almond milk.
So it's a high-fat shake.
It's amazing.
I love it. That's why his skin looks like this.
And then I work out, get ready for work. I go to work. And then at work, I bring my own lunch. Sometimes it's a salad with grilled chicken.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
So you work out and then there's no food, right? Until
No
lunch.
food until lunch. Is that bad?
And no.
Okay.
That's not bad. It's working.
Yeah. Okay.
So do you feel like that's keeping
I'm satiated.
You are.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm satiated. Sometimes I'm a little hungry and I bring a pear with me. And I know that's loaded with sugar, but it's a fruit. So I might have a pear or a tangerine.
Because here's the thing. Nick said this the other day in the podcast. We all want to get to the same destination, right? And that's going to be lean and healthy and fit. And that's why we have guests on the show. Because what I do and what Nick does, first of all, women, right? I want to know what got you that. Like, I don't want to know what's right or wrong because obviously it's right for you and people can learn from this. So you work out and then you're satiated and you might whack at like a pear or something. Okay.
Because I teach, so I don't really have time to eat between classes. But if I have 2 seconds and I can, eat a piece of fruit. And then at lunch, I have either a salad that I made. I might bring something that I made for dinner the night before, which is either going to be, a grilled piece of meat or whatever it is, and the sides that I had. But usually I make my lunch separate. So it'll be a salad. And a typical salad for me might be something like arugula with sun-dried tomatoes, grilled chicken, a little bit of mozzarella cheese, and dressing.
Okay,
You
so
know?
you are eating dairy.
Oh, I eat dairy, but I'm very careful. Most of the dairy that I eat is A2 dairy.
Okay.
I don't know if you know what that is,
I
but
do.
okay, so
Can you explain to the audience, though, who may not
yes.
know?
So A2 dairy is different than the traditional dairy we have in the United States because the traditional dairy in the United States is A1 and A2 mixed, and they are types of proteins, and A1 is very hard to break down. A2 protein is the closest protein to breast milk. So we all got that from our mothers and we could digest that. We can digest that a lot better. So even though technically I am lactose intolerant, I can have A2 milk and I don't get the reaction that I used to get when I would have milk that wasn't A2.
So that could be really helpful for
So
a
the
lot of
only way
people
you're
there.
eating dairy is if you know that it's A2.
Yes,
basically.
or
so
if
when you go out and get a salad at a diner, let's say, you wouldn't have the
I have to take a lactate pill
Okay.
because if I don't take the lactate pill, I'm going to pay for that.
Okay.
With bloating and
So you have a salad and there's always some sort of protein on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I want that's what fills me up is the protein. Like if I had the salad without the chicken or turkey on it, it's usually turkey. Then I won't feel full.
Okay.
And then after that, I mean, I might have a snack, and if it's a snack, it's something that I need. So, for example, I do like a no sugar cookie that I made out of almonds, flour, and cocoa nibs. They're like chocolate. It's not chocolate. It's like my kids think they're disgusting. To me, they're delicious.
Well, if you're eating a Snickers bar,
Yes,
it's
they
probably
think
not going to taste
like,
good,
how do you
right?
eat this? But that's a little something that's for me that I have after lunch that satiates me.
Hey, our female viewers want to know this. They're looking at you saying, I want to know about the cookie. Yeah, I want to know about the cookie.
So things like that, no sugar, a snack like that, because I do have a sweet tooth. And even though that's not necessarily sweet, it takes the edge off that
It does.
need for me to have that.
Okay, sure.
And then when I come home, we eat dinner early because I'm a school teacher and my kids are in school.
What's early?
5 o'clock.
All right, so what is dinner?
So there are a couple things. So a lot of the times I've been going towards turkey now because of the food sensitivities test. I have a sensitivity of chicken, so we're trying to stay away from the chicken a little bit. But I do turkey, steak. Sometimes we'll do burgers, they're all gluten-free buns, but I usually do not even take the bun and just eat the burger without the bun. And then vegetables. So, whatever it is, carrots, broccoli, string beans, whatever, Brussels sprouts, whatever.
So now we're going to do another video with you because Nick said it before with the sensitivity of chicken because people are picking this stuff up, right? Do you feel it or it's just something that came up on a blood test?
So I had, when COVID unleashed, I'm a school teacher.
Yeah.
And I have asthma and I got scared. Everyone was telling me you're going to be intubated. You're going to get COVID. You're going to be intubated. You're going to die. My doctors were scaring me. I have a lot of autoimmune issues. So I got the vaccine. And then I thought I was, good to go. The masks came off. I went back to school. I got COVID 3 times. And each time I got it, it was like getting the flu. I lost weight each time. I had high fevers each time. And I was so sick of being sick. And I'm like, something else is going on. Why is it only me? My husband works with me. He's not catching anything. Why am I catching this thing again and again and again?
Your immune system was
My
just
immune
poorly
system
run
dropped
down.
yeah. So I went to the doctor and they weren't really helping me either. I had a great rheumatologist who was an rheumatologist. And he was like, listen, you have he said, his words, a wonky immune system. I said, is that a technical term? Because, so I said, I have to figure it out. And I looked into functional medicine.
Which is what we're going to talk about in another video because I think, you and I should be looking into this as well.
Yeah, we're
Really,
gonna
probably
document it,
everybody,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I want to do this for a full
And it
episode.
changed my life.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And the first thing she started was with gut stuff. And I was like, great, I'm on it. And we did a food sensitivity test. She put me on a no sugar diet. That is a story and a half. And I found out everything I was eating, like everything.
I want you and I to take that test. I want to bring you back in to talk about that. We are getting really long-winded with this episode.
Right.
And it's been such a blast talking to you. I'm having a great time.
Right.
But we do have to try to like end things out here. Do you have just a couple of recommendations? I know earlier we spoke about beauty products, and this is something that can be tricky for people. So for food, beauty products, anything like this, do you have any recommendations for people, brands that you think are safe and healthy, but also gluten-free?
Yes. So if you're looking at pastas, I would try and get pastas that are produced in Italy. Gluten-free pastas produced in Italy. I just feel like they're better. Rumo is one of them. They sell it at Whole Foods. There's another company. It's not Italian. I believe it's processed in Canada. It's called Andean Dream. It's really nice pasta and it has no corn in it if anyone's looking for corn-free pasta.
Okay.
Breads I mentioned, Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
And then a ready-made pizza. So I know it's hard. You come home, you don't want to make a pizza crust from scratch. Cauliflower pizza from Trader Joe's, gluten-free, is amazingly delicious. Now, I'm sure it's like, considered almost like a fast food pizza. But if you're looking for something quick and you want something and you can put whatever toppings you want in there, and my kids have.
And again, these are things that we're not saying had this every day,
No.
but if every so often.
Like, it's not every pizza.
Yeah.
You can do something like that.
Right.
Bagels, Trader Joe's has pretty good ones. We locally have a bakery. I don't eat bagels anymore. I think it's funny. I had half a bagel the other day and I said the last time I had a bagel was a year ago.
Wow.
So it was literally a year
Yeah.
that I hadn't had a bagel. And I only had half. There's
Now-
a bakery locally that makes them, yeah.
I'm sorry. I eat Barilla. I'm asking you for myself, actually. I eat Barilla gluten-free pasta on Saturday nights. Is there a problem with that? Or
I just don't like the corn because I'm not supposed to have corn.
Oh,
And also, I just feel like the foreign-made products taste to me so much better.
so what is it made with? Rice and like?
Nulo has, I think, quinoa, if I'm not mistaken, rice, and there's going to be corn in Rumo. But the Andean Dream, no corn. It's quinoa and rice. And it's delicious. It's really good. Oh, and Capello's. Capello's is an almond flour. It's expensive.
And has dairy, I believe, in it too.
Capello's?
I'm pretty sure.
The ravioli is going to have dairy.
Right.
That, if
no,
I
but
eat,
the breads, I think, have a little bit of dairy.
I don't get the breads, but the pasta is nice.
oh,
They make gnocchi.
okay. Yeah.
They make sweet potato ravioli. They make a regular ravioli.
Okay.
They make fettuccine. It's so much heavier. Like you take the box and you're like, this tiny little thing. You eat that, you're so full because it's almonds.
Yeah.
So it really fills you up.
Those are great. Those are great. Do you have like just a couple more?
Yes. So another great gluten-free brand that you can find in most grocery stores is Char. It's an Austrian brand. They make a lot of breads. If you like rye bread, it's called deli-style bread. Tastes exactly like rye. It's amazing.
That I've had, and you're right.
So good.
It is
Really?
good. It's
So
not
good.
cheap.
No,
It's not
nothing
cheap. And this
gluten-free
is
cheap.
We didn't mention this. I
Yeah.
wanted to, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to get too far into it,
Yeah.
but these are indulgences.
Yeah.
You're going to be spending 200-300% more
Yes.
on
Is
these
that what it
items.
is, Nick?
Yeah, because that bread specifically, you get
4 slices. I think it's 4
6
slices.
slices, and it's twice as
Yeah.
much as a full loaf of bread.
Yeah.
See, it keeps you thin just because it's so expensive, right?
Cigarettes.
It's,
Like, do I really want that bread? Do I
But
really want that-
listen.
Yeah.
I get it. You got to make your money. But a good product.
Another thing you have to make sure that you eat gluten-free, or make sure it's gluten-free, is the oatmeal, because oatmeal is cross-contaminated. So if something has oatmeal in it and you're thinking, oh, oatmeal is gluten-free, that's a mistake. It has to be certified gluten-free oatmeal.
Yeah.
And there's 1 Degree is the brand. 1 Degree oatmeal. It's organic and it's glyphosate-free.
Wanted
So-
to say what glyphosate is quick for people that don't know.
It's a pesticide, and they spray it on wheat fields. They spray it on a lot of fields.
Yeah, it's Roundup ready.
Yes.
It's Roundup,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
and it's really bad for you. So, I don't even eat oatmeal a lot, to be honest with you. But when I do, I buy that brand. And if I'm looking at something and making sure that it has to say gluten-free oatmeal, not just oatmeal is in this product, if I'm going to buy something.
There's a lot of layers to all this. So gluten, the protein molecule is gliadin.
Yeah.
Oatmeal, even gluten-free oatmeal, has a protein called avidin that looks like gluten. So a lot of people, even if they get gluten-free oats that are pesticide-free and everything, it still bangs them up.
Oh, wow.
And it's the avidin, the protein in the oatmeal itself. So sometimes people could be like, oh, I went gluten-free and I didn't feel it, but they're banging down a lot of oatmeal. And I'm like, all right, take the oats out. And they're like, Jesus Christ, like, and they take that out and like, oh my God, I feel so much better. So it's, they're real
Because
close
oats are heart
cousins.
healthy. You might be thinking you're doing a
Yes.
good thing.
Yes. So just so even if somebody gets gluten-free oats and they're still getting a lot of distress in their abdomen and constipation or diarrhea, it could go both ways as we talked about. It could be the avidin, which is cousins to gluten.
That's good. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to mention is going out and about and not being ready. So let's say you're out for the day with your friends and they all want to go out to eat, but there's nothing around that's gluten-free. I always have food on me. So, and that is going to have to be processed because you can't be carrying around like, a chicken sandwich or whatever it is. And it's not going to hold. So I might have like a protein bar in my bag at all times. Or if I go to a wedding, I always bring a protein bar, a party or something, because I'm not going to be able to eat there.
I'm glad you brought that up though, because that causes a lot of anxiety for people. And I know I have just trained myself to be hungry and not care.
Oh my God, no.
Because I go to these things and I'll sit at a dinner and just not eat, or I'll go to a family party and just not.
Maybe a dinner, okay. But if I had an experience very recently, actually in March, I was away with my husband. I ate before we left. We went on a boat ride. That was 2 or 3 hours. Then we spent time with family. That was available. Then I'm like, getting hungry. Time to go to dinner. We go to dinner. Oh, we can't help you here. And everyone else is already ordering dinner.
Yeah.
So that's another 2 or 3 hours. By the time we left there,
Yeah, you're going 8 hours without food.
I was so angry and so enraged. I was like, if I don't eat, someone's going to pay.
What is your advice to people who are on the edge, who are afraid of the negatives that we've talked about, who are afraid of the work that it's going to take to get themselves to a place where they can, live a healthier lifestyle?
Man up. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
What did you say?
Man up.
Man up. I mean, that's a Lynch answer. That's a Lynch answer.
You're just going to have to deal. This is what it is, and not for nothing. I really do see it as a blessing.
I saw her face when you asked that question. She went like this. She did the doggy head tell. Nick's always so nice. I'm like,
You have to just, be adults. This is what it is. And, listen, after the gluten-free thing, I found that I had 15 more things I had to deal with in my diet. And I was like, I'm just going to have to deal with this. And it becomes your new normal and it's fine.
This is life. Life is the overcoming challenges.
Yes. And you know what? It's not, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, it's not going to kill you. You're not getting a diagnosis like, God forbid, it's like something terminal. It's dietary. If that's all it is, thank God.
yeah.
You just change it, make it your new normal. What's the problem?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this conversation has been fantastic. I am just so happy that you were able to come onto the podcast. I know our viewers are going to love this episode because I learned a lot and I had a lot of fun.
I had so much fun too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
We're going to have a gluten-free fan club. I mean, she might be the thing that puts us on the
You'll
map.
be the gluten-free Martha Stewart in no time. So we are definitely going to have you back if you'll come back.
Yes, absolutely. This was really fun. Yeah.
So thank you everybody for joining us for this conversation. I'm sure you enjoyed it as much as we all did having it. If you like this episode, if you learned something in this episode, do us a favor. Like it, subscribe, share the episode with a friend who is either thinking about going gluten-free or is gluten-free. And, that's all I got. Mike, I have the last word.
Thank you for coming. Great guest, Nick.
Thank
you. Women are going to be inspired by you for certain.
Yeah.
A couple of women might maybe hate you a little bit. 50 years old, but just follow it. She gave you the blow-by-blow meal plan,
Yeah,
right?
pretty
man?
much. Don't hate.
I mean,
just follow the rules
I
that
mean,
Filiz set out.
Yeah, I mean, just listen to her, right? Man, I have nothing else to say. Listen to Filiz. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you, Filiz.
Thank you so much.
You're a doll. Thank you.
All right, and thank you.
Bye-bye. Please hit the like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any content in the future.